Hey everyone, I'm your average guide Sahil Gogna. Welcome back to another video. So guys, in today's video we are going to talk about Lambton College, which is by the way one of the most requested videos on my channel. And the main highlights of this video will be, we will be talking about whether you should consider it as an international student or not. Also, we have talked about how this college helps you to prepare for the job market or whether it prepares you or not. And at the end, some tips for you guys to land a good job here in Canada. So without any delay, let's get started. Hi Sachin, first of all, thanks a lot for sparing your time and coming here for this conversation.
My pleasure.
Let's start from your introduction. We want to know more about you.
Sure thing. So my name is Sachin and I recently graduated from Lambton College in Toronto, and I enrolled for cloud computing for big data course. I graduated in August 21 and currently I'm working as a data engineer at topmost financial firms in Canada.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So recently the colleges in general, they were having a lot of issues related to the immigration and some other things, right?
Yes.
So a lot of colleges in Montreal, they got shut down.
Yes.
Colleges here in Ontario, they are forcing students to defer their semesters.
Yes.
So I want to know, how is Lambton College considering the immigration perspective? So were there any cases when you were a student that students had to suffer because of the college or something like that?
During my studies, I did not come across any of that cases as such, but they do have their own immigration department where, if there are a lot of students who will be getting, a couple of shortened study permits. So that immigration facility, it provides you with specific set of instructions that what you can follow, how you can apply for extension of the study permits and other stuff. And talking about the immigration part, it was pretty cool. Like if your sole purpose of coming to Canada is if you have enough experience back in India and you are pretty sure that you will be able to manage to land a job for yourself, then I would say that it is a pretty good college that you can whose sole purpose could be just to step into Canada.
Okay, so from immigration perspective, it's safe to get admitted to this college?
Yes, right? Yes. So fortunately, it's not blacklisted, unlike other colleges.
Right.
So you can easily get your PR and your work permit, like PR once you're eligible obviously, and work permit also, there are no complexities that anyone has yet faced.
Okay, that's cool. And also Sachin, a lot of students reach out to me and asking me about my views about different campuses of Lambton College. I guess they have more than one campus in Ontario.
Yes. So what happened with me was, like, the course that I wanted to go for, that is cloud computing for big data, it wasn't there in the Sarnia campus. So there is the main campus, Lambton College, that is in Sarnia, Ontario. Whereas the one that I studied was Lambton College in Toronto, and there is one more at Mississauga, though the Mississauga one is like very smaller campus, which I would not suggest to go. Lambton College was also not too big campus, but it was still satisfactory because it was still okay to visit. But the Sarnia campus is really good. So if you find your course of your choice at Sarnia campus, then it is a good thing that you can opt for.
Okay. And Sachin, talking about some other colleges, so there are other prominent colleges here like Humber College, Centennial College. How would you rate Lambton College when we compare it with those prominent colleges, and are there any specific college that you would suggest the audience to go there or something?
Yeah, so talking about Humber and George Brown, they are those colleges are like the legends, but they do have their own curricular and it is pretty complex as well. But they are renowned, so it does not really matter from where you are graduating. But if it's a college and if it's Humber or George Brown, then you are in the top filters.
I mean, they are the top league of the
Yes,
colleges.
exactly. But Centennial, Seneca, Fleming, Lambton, and those are also colleges are there. But the problem with Centennial and Seneca that I have faced, through my friends, was they deliberately make the students to fail in some of the subject with some assignments or in-class activities or some other that. So what happens is, you gotta do the subject again. So you gotta pay the fees again. So that's like around $1,500 of extra charges that you gotta pay, and that you'll be deferred for that particular subject to the next intake. So you gotta repeat. Yeah, that is really messed up. So you just have to repeat that subject, and you need to pass the assignments, activities, and the projects that they give.
And Sachin, you have mentioned your program quite a time now. So can you tell us more about your program, how it was structured? Was it good? Was it difficult? Was it easy?
Sure thing. So as I mentioned, my program was cloud computing for big data. So when I went through the sites, my consultant did tell me that this is the particular course that is available. So I went through the course and I got to know that this is not a big data perspective, big data focused program. It is more of focus on the cloud computing part of it. But I did go through the subjects and other stuff, which later on I found out that it was not so much related to cloud computing. There were subjects, basic subjects like CCNA, like the networking, operating systems, virtualization, introduction to cloud computing, big data fundamentals, and Java database. But those were the like basic subjects that any IT student would have done back in the bachelor's when you were studying in India or any other country, right? So coming from an IT background, I felt that the course was pretty basic, which they could have elevated to a certain point where they're actually making us study the cloud computing subjects, you know, like we could have got idea about Azure or AWS or stuff like that. They could Oracle, they could have, you know, introduced these certification courses to us. Probably they do provide us with LinkedIn learning, so like Lambton College is good in a way that, you know, they provide with LinkedIn learning premium, so we can easily surf through the courses of our likes and we can always upgrade ourselves accordingly.
So talking about the industry standard, how helpful this course was while you were applying for the jobs?
Yes.
The direct applications, like the things that you learned in the program, were they somehow asked in the interviews, or like you have to go beyond that?
Definitely. So the subjects were database, Java. So I basically applied for as a Java developer because I do have experience of 1.5 years back in India at Infosys. So during that tenure, I was a Java developer, and as of now also, I was applying at that time as a Java developer.
Okay.
And later on, I switched my career path to data engineering. So if I wouldn't have been upgrading accordingly, then it wouldn't have been possible. So the college played a role in a way that there were big data subjects involved.
Okay.
So that way I was able to understand the 5 V's of big data, the ML.
More of the introductory.
Exactly. So the basics of big data were introduced. So it did help me at a point of time. There was Java. So this particular course was a co-op course. So there was internship involved at the last semester. So we had to find the internship, and most of the internships were based off as a data engineer or as a Java developer, and accordingly. So it did help me a little to push and find internships accordingly.
Okay. So this one, it established your base that, okay, you know something about data engineering, but
Yes.
you learned most of the stuff yourself, right?
Or myself, yes, definitely. So the way I learned was more of based on lit code that I was practicing all the time, and through LinkedIn learning, because it was beneficial, because, you know, not many people will opt for, like, not many students. I would talk about students. Not many students will go for LinkedIn learning because it's hella costly, paying $35, $36 a month, because the wages that we are paid and the money that we are making as a part-time worker, it's pretty less. We are just able to sustain ourselves. So we are surviving on the basis of that pay. So no student would go for buying it on their own. So it was good that Lambton College actually provided us with LinkedIn Learning Premium. So I did upgrade myself through that as well. I did NLP courses and machine learning courses, and accordingly.
Okay. So your program was a 2-year program, right?
Yes, it was a 2-year program.
The internship or the co-op was the part of that program?
Yes, indeed. So it was more like, so 3 semesters were studies, obviously, and the last term was a co-op term.
Okay.
So the best part of this co-op term was, like, there was a subject introduced in the 3rd semester, which was training us that how we can start applying, how we can improve our LinkedIn, and how we can improve our resume and the cover letter and other stuff,
Okay.
according to the market industry. So that way, this particular subject helped us to build those things, and we also started applying simultaneously.
Okay.
So that way we were able to achieve it. And talking of the co-op term, so there were a couple of companies that would come to the port, like, who would provide the URLs to the college, and college would upload it to the co-op careers, the careers portal that we had, and through that we could easily apply. We have LinkedIn easy apply on click, right? So the same way we applied. So basically college would collect the data of student, and they would probably send it to the company, or else it was more of like it was company portal where we were directly applying, like that.
So college was of a little assistance while you were applying for co-op, but I think the major work the students have to do on their own, right?
Definitely, I would agree with that. College is just an intermediate who provides you with some platform.
I mean, it's not like the placement scenarios that we had in India.
Yes, that's a very good point. So talking of placements in India, what we imagine is like, okay, I'm studying, I'm doing my bachelor's. There are companies coming inside of the campus where we are sitting out of some laboratories and like, applying, giving interviews like that. Here is not the scenario. Here you are just provided with a URL. You gotta upload your resume, your cover letter and those stuff, and accordingly they will collect the data and you might get the calls. Sometimes you don't even get the calls.
And did you ever feel that being a college student was ever a disadvantage for you while you were in the job market, like when you were applying for jobs?
Okay, putting it like this way, college and university. So as a college student, the degree that you will be receiving is a postgraduate diploma degree, right? So that's like that's not exactly a degree, it's a diploma certificate that we are receiving. So that affects a little, but at the end of the day everything is dependent on your skills. So like if you have good experience, if you have good knowledge about what you're doing, then I think you're at a safe spot. You can easily land the jobs, get interviews, get the calls, and accordingly you can work things out.
And talking about your first job, was it really easy? Because I know you had one and a half year of experience back in India, right?
Yes.
So was it something like you were applying and then companies were straightforward reaching out to you that, okay, you can join an organization, or were you struggling to get your interview calls? So what was your scenario?
Yeah. So the company, like my first job was as a Java developer. So basically that company did come to my college as to hire co-op students.
Okay.
I applied to that. Obviously, like every other student, I applied, and I got 4 rounds of interviews, and yeah, it was pretty elaborative. Like they were asking very detailed questions, though they were basic, but they were not so much related to the coding stuff because they are still hiring students.
Right.
So your basics should be more clearer.
Okay.
Right, like though you might not know some coding skills, you might not have them, but if your basics are clear, then probably you can, what algorithm you can select, what data set, like what if you need a queue or a linked list, or what you exactly require, right? So you can make a decision accordingly. And so I went through all those 4 rounds of interview, but that still did not hire me. So I was searching for other internships, and while applying, I was rejected at 2 other companies. But the good learning outcome from that was I got the questions that they were asking, the knowledge that they wanted in a co-op student. That is more of like, as I'm saying, it's more of the basic stuff. So polymorphism, for example, you might not use it sometime, but you just need to know what the definition is.
Fundamentals
exactly, the fundamentals. So fundamentals of OOP, like that. So when I approached, so as I was talking, like I got 2 rejections. So I got the questions that they were seeking, the knowledge.
So you got rejected from this company when they came for the co-op
Yes,
students, right?
yes. I got the rejection for this company. Later on, I applied to 2 other companies, again where I was rejected.
Okay.
So I got into the 3rd company because I got the question set, like the question what people are asking, right? So accordingly, I prepared myself and I got the co-op accordingly. Okay. So yeah, and also like there are 2 types of co-ops. One is paid and one is unpaid co-op. Okay. So there was a big misconception in every student's head that they will easily get a paid co-op. Okay, which is not true. It's not that easy to land a paid co-op if you don't have the basic knowledge. So your basics needs to be very clear, and you need to have good, I would say fair amount of coding skills just to land a paid co-op. Okay. There were a lot of students who had got unpaid co-ops as well. So I got rejections from there. I was accepted in the fourth company that I applied for.
And you're talking about this one for co-op, right?
Co-op itself, and this itself happened within span of a month.
Okay.
I started applying. Yeah, so how co-ops work is like basically you need to start applying at least 3 months prior to the deadlines. So if
that's a good point. A lot of students ask me like, what's the best time to apply for the
exactly. So it's at least 3 months prior to when it starts. So I would suggest initial time of your third semester, you need to start applying for co-ops, because the co-op students positions are filled very fast.
Yeah.
Because there aren't, it's not full-time employment, right? It's a contractual employment for like 4 months, and you are also a student. So there are very limited opportunities for that. Any team would hardly hire one co-op student, because even they know if the guy or girl has the potential, then they might offer them full time.
Right.
But that is not in most of the cases. So suppose if you don't have that, then you gotta start from scratch again.
Right.
Like that.
So this was the co-op part. How did you get your first full time?
Yes. So the rejection that I got from the 4 rounds, my first company, I approached them again, asking that for full-time employment, that I had already interviewed for a co-op student, but as of now I'm on work permit. So would you be able to offer me the full-time employment as Java developer? So they scheduled an interview. I went for an interview. The best part was I did get an internship. And those 4 months of experience helped me to land my first job. Because here, though I had 1.5 years of Infosys experience back in India, it wasn't considered enough to land my first job in Canada. So it's good to have the experience, but if you don't have the experience, you still need to be very sharp at what you're doing. Yes. So though based out of that internship, I approached to the first company. They took my interview, they scheduled the interview, and it was really good, and I was hired as a full-time Java developer at that firm.
Okay. And also talking about the co-ops, like you have already mentioned, you can be paid or it can be the unpaid internship, right? So you or some of friends, they might have got the paid internship.
Definitely.
So what salary range can a student expect for the co-op part?
Yeah, so again, now the co-op again depends. So usually the companies offer them the base pay, that is 15.
Okay.
Or just a little above the base pay. Okay.
Like 17 or 18.
Exactly, around that part. Whereas there were a couple of friends who got salaried. So a couple of people got 40K per annum. So when they got reduced to that 4 months, it was pretty above 15. But when you see it according to per hour rate, it was around 18 or 20. That's the best you can do, because you're a student, right? So anyways, they're gonna get the work done, and you're also gonna get the experience. So it's like it's a win-win situation for both of you guys. You are getting paid as a student, which is even above your average, above the base pay, and they're also getting the work done. So it's a two-way thing.
And Sachin, before we end our conversation, any final advice to the viewers?
Yes. So what I would suggest is like networking is a must, right? So I have a lot of people who, like, I myself was I was working as a part-time cashier at a gas station.
Okay.
So we were informed to talk very nice, and gas stations in Canada, you find variety of people. Oh my God, from like all level of people, right? So we still have to treat everyone with respect and everything. So I was just, there are regular customers. So when they see you regularly, you're gonna imprint on themselves, right? You're gonna imprint on them. So that is how I used to network. I was also working at a restaurant.
Okay.
So not a server in the kitchen. So it was more of like, even there, when I used to meet any of the customers, when I was making any sales or anything, they also used to ask like, hey man, what do you do? I was like, yeah, I'm a student as of now, I'm into this, I'm into IT. And I'm like, hey, yeah, here's my card, here's my contact information. I'm a manager at this firm. and please contact me once you are.
So networking starts from the place where you are right now.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So a lot of students think that whenever we talk about networking, they need to go on LinkedIn. Start from LinkedIn.
Yes.
But the main thing is wherever you are, just start talking to people.
Exactly.
Networking means you need to talk to people, express
Exactly.
yourself, get to know them.
Exactly, yes.
That's good.
So networking starts anywhere and everywhere.
Right.
So the most basic networking starts is with your roommates. Suppose your roommates are from different colleges, let's just say, because here you need to change rooms after a while if the things happens, right? So like if anything goes south, you gotta move, you gotta shift and everything. So once you are shifting room, you are meeting new people.
Right.
And accordingly you can communicate your own things, you can network. Even at your workplace, at a gas station, I used to make a lot of friends where they were working, they had roommates, they had contacts, and accordingly we got into the.
That's how you expand your network.
Yeah, exactly, that's how you expand. So LinkedIn is also a good thing, but LinkedIn is more of like purely professional. Right. Where you are still a part-time student as of now, part-time working student, right? So as of now, you gotta make network face-to-face with people. LinkedIn networking is also good, but you can still start from who you meet.
Right.
Like that.
That's a great advice, Sachin.
Awesome.
Well, thanks a lot. It was really a great conversation. We have now a great idea about the college, about the industry itself, and thanks a lot for sharing your experience.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.